everyone, and welcome back to my channel, Tomcat Stitchery. I'm Whitney, and today I have kind of a special video for you. Before we get started though, I would just like to thank Skillshare. Skillshare is sponsoring this video today. Skillshare is an online learning community where millions come together to take the next step in their creative journey. So today we are going to be covering 5 tips for getting your creativity back, basically. Whether that means you're in a rut with your sewing or just being creative in general, whatever that means to you. These are 5 tips that I find help get my sojo back or help just get me back into a real creative, frame of mind. You know, back into that good creative space where I'm very productive and just feeling good and feeling replenished by my creative endeavors. So, 5 tips. So, the first thing that I find really helps to bring back any lost creativity or pull me out of any kind of rut that I'm in is to try a different artistic pursuit or a different creative pursuit. Now, this can include writing, it can include photography, it can include drawing, it can include painting, cooking if that's your thing. Whatever it is, I find that if I leave my sewing room and leave sewing behind for a little bit and, you know, explore maybe another creative pursuit, I don't have to be good at it, just something else that interests me at that time. I think it's a great way to kind of rejuvenate the creativity, especially if you're finding that you have a little bit of writer's block in the sewing room. I think that this is a great way to kind of push past that. Now, Skillshare, who is our sponsor today, like I said, is an online learning community. They have a ton of classes in different creative pursuits. They gave me access to their platform, and I'm really quickly going to cut to that and kind of show you a little bit about Skillshare. It was a new to me platform. I had heard about it before from actually some other YouTubers, seen it advertised on some other channels, but I had never used it. So I actually received 3 months free in order to review it, and I have been taking 1 class right now, which I'll talk about here in just a second, but I have found it to be just wonderful cornucopia of creative outlets and a lot of really cool things that you can explore. It is a community that you join. It is a subscription service. It is less than $10 a month, but for the first 1,000 people that click on the link below, you get 2 months free. So if you something that you would like to try out, I have a link down below that will get you 2 months free of the service and allow you to try that out before you commit to anything. So I'm gonna really quickly cut and show you the footage of, you know, me kind of going through the site and the platform in general.
Okay, so I just wanted to show you the platform a little bit. I am new to Skillshare here and I've just been kind of exploring during this holiday weekend, but I just kind of wanted to show you what I have discovered. So once again, I do have a link in the description box where you can, the first 1,000 people can get 2 months of Skillshare for free to try it out. So there's no risk, you know, you just try it out for free. If you like it, you can sign up. It is less than $10 a month if you sign up for the yearly subscription. The yearly subscription gives you access to all of their classes. Let's look over here. They have a ton of different stuff. They've got stuff with animation, creative writing. I mean, you can look at all of these, but a whole bunch of classes. Now, for myself, I find that drawing and painting, while I'm not good at it, I do find it to be very inspiring. I love to look at other people's work, and I love to try doing it on my own. You know, it's okay that I stink at it, but I do find it very creatively rejuvenating to do a little bit of painting, and just it helps me look at nature and things in my everyday world a little differently. So I have taken, as you can see up here, this Postcards from Here, which is about playing with ink basically, and I'll talk more about that class here in a second. It's the first class that I have taken, and I've really been having a lot of fun with that this weekend. But they've gone ahead and recommended some stuff for me based on that, which are a whole bunch of illustration classes, which I just think are very, very fun. You know, it's almost like keeping a bullet journal a little bit, where you're doing a lot of sketching. You can make your own journals. Here's a colorful travel map. This botanical illustration is also extremely interesting to me. I'd really like to delve into that, I think, next. Also, this keeping a sketchbook. I think my daughter does a lot of that, and I find that I love looking through her stuff. And I think that would just be something fun to keep, for personal going back, because you could also do sketches of different clothing designs you kind of come up with in your head for your sewing. Or if it's just something in essence, a landscape that you find particularly inspiring, or, whatever. Anyway, there were a ton of these classes that I found very inspiring. And I also want to show you here, they also have workshops that run through a certain amount of time. This one especially, the surface pattern design from starting out to create a business looks very interesting to me. So there are 2 classes with this right now. And here, let's get into it. And the first one, it's giving you an intro on how to use Adobe Illustrator, which if you wanted to do your own fabric, I do a lot of the inspiration videos on recreating ready-to-wear. And if you find something like a print of something that you find very inspiring, but maybe you want to tweak up the color and that kind of thing, I do not know how to use Adobe Illustrator, but this class will show you how to do that. So you could create your own, any kind of surface, obviously pattern design, fabric, wallpaper, whatever, and then you could upload whatever you've created from Adobe Illustrator up to a platform like Spoonflower and have it printed on any of their fabrics, or wallpaper or wrapping paper, I think they do, or any other service that does those kind of offers that kind of service as well. But I just thought this workshop looked very interesting, and I've actually joined it, so I'm going to be checking that out here in the next few days. What is great about it, so again, you can join for free for 2 months and just kind of really see, if you like it, if it's something that you find you would use a lot. Look, you can even create a successful YouTube channel from concept to camera. I'm also very interested, when you go up here to the browse section, they have stuff on filming and video, and you guys know how much I have a learning curve that I've been messing around with there. So there's quite a few of these classes I think would be actually very beneficial for me, for my YouTube channel. But, it's not just, fine art, graphic design, that kind of thing. Music, it's anything that you might be interested in. To kind of explore a little bit more creatively. But let's look at the class real quick. So this is the class that I've been taking. This postcard's from here. The gal that is teaching this Dylan, and I'm going to totally butcher her last name. So I'll show it to you. It's this right here. Dylan Merzwinski, maybe? She did say it at the beginning of the class. But anyway, she's got this 2-hour-long
more problem solving, so I like the framing of...
This 2-hour-long class. And it walks you right through not only finding inspiration for your postcard, basically. It doesn't have to be a postcard, but you're making a little ink picture, basically. She walks you through all the way from finding inspiration to the basic techniques over here. You can see reference photos, and then actually creating these little thumbnails, and then final postcards. And all the classes down here, they have a little section about the class, which goes into a little bit more depth if you're, all these classes are included with your subscription, so you can definitely, take whatever you want, and you don't have to finish it if you aren't finding it helpful. But then there's also reviews, if you want to look at reviews to see if it's worth your time from other classes. Discussions, and these actually are open discussions, so it's not only the teacher responding, but you can, as a student, can also, or as a member of this class, also leave replies, so you have a whole conversation that can happen. Also, projects and resources. She does have some resources here, class materials, that kind of thing, and then a rubric, so you can get as much as you want out of the class, however you see yourself taking this class. And then it's all these student projects that they've uploaded. You can see there's a whole wide variety of skill levels here, and I think that's what I love most about this, is that you don't have to be a professional artist. You don't even really have to be good by technical standards. It's art, it's all in the eye of the beholder, but it's just about expressing yourself and trying a new medium. And for me, I find that doing stuff like this to be very inspiring and definitely helps kick my creativity back into gear, which then translates back into the sewing room every single time. So I find that any kind of exploration of other creative outlets to be very helpful. We are all creative beings, and I think that exploring other ways, and you might find something actually that you're super passionate about and find a new hobby. But if for nothing else, it's just a good way to find some inspiration to kickstart that creativity once again. And yeah, I think joining a platform like this would be very helpful, throughout any of your slumps. We all have creative slumps, or just slumps in general in life. But again, you can try this out for 2 free months, just to see if this would even be something you'd be interested in to begin with. So yeah, first 1,000 people, I have a link down there. You can sign up for your 2 free months. And I have just really been enjoying this platform.
Okay, so there you have it. So as you can see, I am currently taking a ink class, basically, which I just find fascinating. I think I mentioned that teacher, that Dylan, I'm not going to butcher her last name, to be very engaging, very informative, really funny. And I've really been spending most of my Memorial Day, I'm filming this on Memorial Day, and I've been spending most of my Memorial Day weekend just perusing through that site and finding a whole bunch of really cool classes, not only other creative pursuits, which like I mentioned, I'm more drawn towards the illustration a little bit, some of the fine art stuff, there's some watercolor classes and things, but they also have some workshops on this, like I showed you the surface design workshop, that I think it would go hand in hand with our sewing craft, as well as they do have some video and filming things, which of course interests me, since that is definitely an area that I can improve on right now in creating better content for the channel. So yeah, if you're interested at all, definitely click on that link and try out the platform for 2 months. I think that it would definitely be worth your time. All right, tip number 2. If you're finding that you just, and this one I find actually really helpful if you've had like quite a few fails. I feel like we all get to that point in our sewing journey where, you've sewn a couple of new patterns and like they just haven't worked out quite right. Maybe fitting has been off, or even you've just made a stupid mistake. You've ripped your fabric, accidentally cut through the fabric when you were trimming your seam allowances, or, just had a couple of fails in a row, or maybe just things that just hadn't worked out the way you had fully intended. I think a good palette cleanser is definitely in order at that point. So my number 2 tip is a good TNT pattern. I think all seamstresses should have a somewhat small group of TNT patterns. TNT meaning tried and true. So for me, this would be patterns like the Rhapsody Blouse by Love Notions, because as you all know, I love that one. I know it fits. I can make it in a whole bunch of really gorgeous fabrics and even precious fabrics because I know it fits. I know I love to wear it. I know that it is always a winner every time that I make it. Also, a new TNT that I would definitely feel comfortable using more precious fabrics is the B6543 pattern. I think I'm saying that right. I'll pop a picture of the pattern right there. But those are just fantastic patterns that I know I can always go back to them and that they will fit no matter what, that, I don't have to worry about, making muslins, so they're pretty easy. I've made them enough times now that I can, sew them quickly. Another one I would put on is my Whitney dress. I made this a couple of times when I was doing the testing. It fits me perfectly now. It's a great knit pattern. I can make it with the scallops, without the scallops, and just have a whole bunch of different things in my wardrobe. So that is tip number 2 to kind of pull you out of any kind of sewing or creativity rut, would be to go to a nice TNT pattern. So definitely curate some of those for yourself so that you have some to go to when you need a good palette cleanser. All right, number 3. I find that going through and reorganizing my patterns and or my fabrics inevitably will kick off some sort of inspiration. When I find a pattern that that I was very inspired by when I purchased it, and then it just got, further down the queue as other stuff popped up, sometimes it's just a matter of revisiting that and all of a sudden I'm re-inspired all over again. Same with my fabric. Maybe it's a fabric that I purchased because I loved it, but I didn't really have a plan for it. And then it just kind of gets lost in the shuffle. I will actually pop links up here both to a video that I did on how I store my patterns, which make it really easy for me to go through and find inspiration because I have them all in binders, the pattern covers of my printed patterns in binders, as well as I have a video on how I store my fabric now. I have folded it. I think it might be the same. Is it the same video? No, I can't remember if it's the same video. there'll be a link up here. But I have stored my fabric, also folded it kind of Marie Kondo style-ish. And I find it real easy just to open my drawers. I have it all sorted, but I can easily see what I have and be inspired that way. So I think definitely digging through your fabric, and that may mean just refolding things and going through patterns, can be a great way to find some new inspiration and new creative spark. All right, tip number 4, online shopping. Now, before you're like, oh, that's a horrible idea, I want to preface this. Online window shopping might be better. I very, very rarely buy, I never buy clothes for myself, especially online anymore. Maybe if I'm in a little local boutique or something and see something that's just amazing, but chances are it's not gonna fit me, though I'm so picky and fit anymore with ready to wear. But both online shopping and in-store shopping can provide tons of inspiration. I have quite a few shops that I like to go and check out their new arrivals online, and I show you videos all the time of different street style looks or different ready-to-wear websites where I'll go through and just be completely inspired by what I see, and then have a really fun time pairing those up with patterns and then recreating those. I put together a Love Notions video not that long ago. I'll actually pop a link up at the beginning of the month. I'll pop a link to that video too. They had their big sale at the beginning of the month, and so I had paired some current ready-to-wear looks that I was really inspired by with some of their patterns on how I could recreate those looks. And a lot of the companies that I'm drawn to are pretty pricey. Dresses are like I guess I shouldn't say pretty, they're not like designer prices, but $200 for a dress. Well, I can recreate that in good fabric for a lot less than $200 for a dress. So, that is always a great thing. Now, I can go on Pinterest and kind of get the same type of thing, and you definitely can pull inspiration based on that, but Pinterest can be kind of hit or miss. Sometimes you're pulling up a lot of ads and that kind of thing. I love using Pinterest to store my own things that I found elsewhere on the web, but I just sounded old, on the web, on the internet, but definitely Google Images is another good thing. If you've got a pair of like relaxed jeans, you're trying to figure out how to style, if you Google relaxed jeans street style look in Google Images, a lot of times you can get a lot of images that way. But yeah, basically online window shopping, I find almost always will really spark my inspiration and at least put me on the path of, ooh, I want to recreate that. And then once I've had a good successful sew, then I'm usually off to the races, and the creativity comes flooding back, and yeah, it's a good dam breaker, I guess. All right, my last tip number 5, very easy one. Don't force it. This is a lesson that I have had to learn the hard way. Sometimes the best things that you can do for your creativity is just walk away from the sewing room. And if that means going and taking a nice long walk by yourself or with a loved one, or if that means maybe doing a household chore that you've been putting off. I find that sometimes if I have too many household chores or things that I need to do that I just don't want to do, and I've been procrastinating those by being in the sewing room, that they just start weighing on my subconscious, and then pretty soon it creates a creative block. So sometimes it's just walking away and doing maybe one of those things, and then usually that will free up some of my headspace in order for me to start creating and feel a little more fulfilled in my creativity that way. Also, take a nap. I think that, yeah, don't force it. Just walk away and take a nap. Sometimes it's because you're tired, and your creativity just isn't gonna flow if you're tired and if you're not taking care of yourself. So that is something I've actually had to learn the hard way, and if you watch the daily vlogs, you've seen that I have been struggling with some fatigue, mostly for the fact that I've been homeschooling, like e-learning, the homeschooling of my kids here at the end of this whole last quarter, and I think that has just taken its toll. And now that we're done, my body is just like, whew. But I have found that taking this weekend and not sewing has been very, very rejuvenating. So that is definitely, don't ignore that one. That one can do a world of good, and is one that I need to be practicing more, but I'm getting much better at. Okay guys, so there you have it. If you are finding yourself in a creative rut right now, those are 5 ways that you can explore and kind of restarting that sojo back up, or restarting that creative spark, that fulfillment, especially in these weird times we're in right now. I think that self-care and creativity are probably more important now than ever. So definitely foster that. And again, if you are interested in looking through all the wonderful creative classes that Skillshare has to offer, first 1,000 people that click on the link below get 2 months of free for to try out that platform. So I mean, there's really nothing you can lose on that one. Anyway, that's all I have for today, guys. I hope you all have enjoyed this. As always, give me a thumbs up if you liked the content on this one. Leave a comment down below if you'd like to comment on ways that you find that your creativity is boosted, or ways that you find are beneficial to your creativity. Definitely leave those down in the comments below. I love having conversations with you guys. And if you haven't already, hit the subscribe button. We got a whole bunch of great stuff coming up in June, including Activewear Month. We're going to be sewing through activewear, and fingers crossed, I think I might have a new cover stitch machine for Activewear Month. I think I mentioned that in the daily vlog, but my husband has given me the green light to buy a new cover stitch machine, which I was really hoping to have for Activewear Month so that I could kind of show off the different stuff. So that's what we have coming up. So definitely hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and hit the little bell for notifications so you're notified every time I post a video. All right, I hope you guys are having a fantastic Friday. Have a wonderful weekend, and I will see you next time. Bye.